Did I scare you? No? Not at all? Not even a little bit? My face scared you. Okay, great, thanks. Thanks for that. Hello and welcome to a spooky big friendly grub. I say it's spooky, it's only spooky is because it's going out on Halloween and is a vaguely Halloween related food stuff I am going to be making for you today. Yes, it is Halloween, the time when all the spoopy stuff happens and all the spookenings happen, and basically everyone gets all a bit goth for a month, really. It's kind of going a bit Christmas in that it tends to get to October and everyone goes, woo, Halloween! Yes, it's Halloween time. It is Halloween's time to shine. And basically, it's the only thing that's kind of stopping Christmas from creeping into October. We love a good Halloween over here in the UK. More and more so in recent years, I'm finding. It seems to have kind of crept over from the USA in terms of the enthusiasm that we have for Halloween now. I mean, they love Halloween over in the USA, and I'm not really sure why, because it's predominantly a pagan holiday, and it's very much a Christian country predominantly over there. But yeah, it's the enthusiasm that they have for it over in the US is phenomenal. I've been over to the US around October before, and there's like stores just dedicated to Halloween and costumes and all sorts. It's phenomenal, and that enthusiasm is creeping over here, but it's kind of like we're kind of doing amateur hour Halloween over here still. I think we don't quite go in as full on as the US, but I think that's changing. And one of the things that has also come over from the USA is pumpkin pie. And that is what I'm going to be showing you how to make today. Pumpkin pie is really an unusual one. It's not really something that you would think would work. You think about pumpkins, you think about carving them out, hollowing them out and making spooky faces in them and stick them in the window until they start to rot. But no, pumpkin pie is very, very much a thing, and it is absolutely delicious. I mean, you're seeing it all the time now. You see like pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spice everything, pumpkin spice, I don't know, underwear, who knows? Don't know where that quite came from, but there is very much a passion for pumpkin spice things now. Pumpkin spice isn't actually anything to do with pumpkin flavour, it's just all the spices that go into pumpkin pie. And that's why pumpkin pie is so delicious. It's full of great spices, cinnamon, ginger, mixed spice, what's the other one? Nutmeg, that was it. But it's these spices that makes pumpkin pie so delicious. It's also dead easy to make. So I'm going to show you today on Halloween how to make pumpkin pie. So let's get started. It's going to be spooky. It's not going to be spooky. I don't even have any decorations, I'm sorry. All I've got is like my Nightmare on Elm Street t-shirt, and that's as spooky as it's going to get. Sorry. Worst Halloween ever. Right, for our pumpkin pie, like all pies, we are going to need ourselves some pastry. So I've got here a 9-inch tart tin, or you could use a actual pie dish if you want. I prefer a tart tin because it's got a loose bottom, which makes for getting the pumpkin pie out much easier. And also I have already some shortcrust pastry which I made earlier. Now if you want to know how to make shortcrust pastry, then I suggest you go back and watch my Bakewell tart video in which I show you how to make it completely from scratch. It's very, very easy. It is the easiest of all pastries, and I would say it's probably the only pastry that's really worth putting the time and effort into making at home, because puff pastry and phyllo pastry are quite time consuming, so only do those if you've got like a load of spare time. But I have got here my shortcrust pastry, so I'm going to move this out of the way and we're going to get this rolled out. It's been out of the fridge for about 15 minutes or so, so it should be good to roll out. And what we're going to want to do is to roll this out so it's bigger than our pie dish, tart dish, whatever. So just throwing it down, a bit of flour to stop it from sticking, a bit over the top as well. Then I've got my big old marble rolling pin, and I'm just going to start rolling this out. Hopefully it'll be about, I don't know, a centimetre thick, centimetre and a half. But the main thing is to get it bigger than our tart dish. So that is probably a good inch or so bigger than our pie dish, so we can now get this into that pie dish very, very carefully. If you've watched my videos before, you know the drill. So try and get this up and over. Try not to drop this. And just try and very carefully drape that over. Whee! And then all we do is try and get this in to all the edges as best as we can, get them into that lovely fluted shape so we get a nice edge on this. So that's the pastry in quite nicely there, and then we just need to trim off the excess, and the quickest way to do that is get your rolling pin and do this. Nice, quick and easy way to take off that excess pastry, and gives you a lovely neat tart tin. All I need to do with this is to first give it a quick prick in the bottom, and then I'm going to pop this into the fridge for a good 15 minutes to let it chill a bit, and while we're doing that we can get on with making our pumpkin pie filling, which is so easy. Making our pumpkin pie pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance. Sorry, I went into a stutter and then I went into a very, very 90s dance song. Sorry about that, don't know what happened there. But to make our pumpkin pie filling couldn't be simpler, apart from trying to say it apparently. But you're thinking, wait, Matt, to make pumpkin pie, won't I need to buy a pumpkin and take the middle out and then roast it, all the flesh and all of that, and try and peel it? And oh, it sounds like so much trouble. And yes, you could do it that way. It is possible to do it that way. I have done it that way, and it's very, very time consuming. But you don't need to worry, because around this time of year you can get pumpkin in a tin pumpkin, or pumpkin puree, whatever you want to call it. You can get these around this time of year because the whole craze about doing pumpkin pie around this time of year kicks in, and these appear on the shelves a lot easier than they do the rest of the year. And this has 100% natural pumpkin in it, so it has done all the job of peeling and getting all the good bits out that you need. So you need 1 tin of this exactly. Oh god, I'm going to need a can opener. I haven't used a can opener for ages. Hold on. I do have a can opener, that is good. It's a can opener, but great. Let's see if I can still do this. Such first world problem. It's like, I don't have a can opener. Oh, there we go. Oh, doesn't that look delicious? Looks horrific. I mean, it's orange and it looks like baby food, basically. This is what we need, and we are going to turn this into something delicious, believe it or not. So in goes our pumpkin puree. Oh, look at that. Isn't that delicious looking? Are you not appetized? Then to go with our tin of pumpkin, we need a tin of condensed milk, and this thankfully has a ring pull on it, so this is a lot easier to get into. So 1 tin condensed milk. Look at that, it's so thick and luxuriant and super sweet and super bad for you. And this is what's going to start turning this into a super sweet, delicious pie. And give that a quick mix together. See, that looks more appetizing already, but we're not done, because we are also going to throw in some brown sugar, as the Rolling Stones would say. That's 90 grams of light brown sugar. Try and use the light brown sugar, because otherwise the dark brown sugar will take away some of that oranginess from the pumpkin pie. Then we're going to need 1 whole egg and 3 egg yolks, and mix those in as well. We want primarily egg yolks rather than whole eggs, because when you cook pumpkin pie, sometimes it can crack on the top and it doesn't look very presentable. Still tastes absolutely fine, but it doesn't look great. But the main reason for that is usually the egg whites, which tend to split after they've been cooked in the oven. So by using egg yolks, we can try and reduce the amount of cracking in the pumpkin pie, and also it gives it a nicer, richer custardy flavour by using just egg yolks, or at least primarily egg yolks. So mix those in as well. Now that's pretty much it, apart from the most important part, our pumpkin spices. So like I mentioned before, everyone goes nuts for pumpkin spice stuff these days, so this is primarily what they are. So I'm going for, first of all, a teaspoon of mixed spice, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, which adds to the mixed spice because that's the primary component of mixed spice, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, and half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and then mix those in. And that is our pumpkin pie mix. Now again, it doesn't look that appetizing, but it smells fantastic now. Now that we've added all those spices in, it smells absolutely amazing. And it's only going to get better once we cook it. So this is pretty much ready to go into our pastry case now. So let's get that going. So I've got our chilled pastry case out of the fridge, and now all we need to do is gently pour in our pumpkin pie mix. Now it may not be filling up our pie case, but that is absolutely fine, because with the egg in it, it should rise up some and help fill in some of that gap. But to be honest, that's still a pretty good distance around there anyway. So that's all of that out. Now we can get this into the oven. Look at that colour on it, isn't that amazing? It's brilliant. Right, enough talking, let's get this into the oven. Right, I'm popping our pumpkin pie into the oven at 200 degrees C. You can see I've already got a tray in here which has been in there for about 5 minutes in the oven. I'm going to very gently get this onto there without hopefully burning myself. That was out of shot for you guys, but I managed to do that without burning myself. And then I'm going to pop this into the oven. By having that tray that's already been in the oven, it's going to help cook the base of our pumpkin pie a bit. I'm going to shut that up because it's very hot. And I'm just going to cook that in there for 10 minutes on 200 degrees C, and then I will bring it down to 180 degrees C, maybe 175 degrees C to be safe, and cook it for another 30 minutes. Now I'll pop all the conversions and everything else into the YouTube description and the recipe on my blog, and we'll come back in about 40 minutes or so and see how that's come out. Right, it's been about 40 minutes, so this should be good to come out of the oven now. 10 minutes at 200 degrees C, 30 minutes at 180 degrees C. By the way, I checked the footage from putting it into the oven and I realised you had a really nice close-up of my face in that shot. So turns out this was a scary video after all. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's get this out of the oven. Oh, there you go, look at that. That is puffed up nicely. That is probably about right actually. So there it is. I mean, that has come up really, really nicely. That is exactly the right amount I wanted it. Starting to get a little bit of crackage around the edge. Don't know if crackage is a word, but it is now. But it's not like cracking right down the middle or anything like that. Which is what can sometimes happen. This should lower itself down a bit now that it's out of the oven and even itself out. So that's looking really, really good. So all we've got to do now is give it some time to cool down, and then we can hopefully take it out the tin and have a proper look at it. Fingers crossed that that pastry is cooked all properly. It does look quite nice and brown, so I think we're good. So let's give this some time to cool, and then we can have a closer look at it out of the tin. Right, our pumpkin pie has had a good 20-25 minutes to cool, and I think it's now the time where we can try and get it out of the tin. I've had to move this away from our usual spot by the window because it's so sunny today that it was actually obscuring any filming I could do. I mean, it's nearly November and it's really, really sunny today and really quite warm. So yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, let's get this out of the tin. So I'm going to do this by getting a glass, popping this on here and gently bringing this down. Oh, you can't see a thing there, but yes, there it is. And you can see that is a really nice golden brown pastry crust, and that looks really good. So I'm going to move this back down and try and get this off here because that's quite a precarious position for it. And there we go, one pumpkin pie. Doesn't that look splendid? I'm going with splendid. Don't know why I said splendid, but that's what I'm going with. That looks and smells fantastic. Now, obviously, the next part is always the tasting, but because, like most things, this is going to work, I don't want to have to cut into it and bring in an incomplete pumpkin pie. But what I have done, I am prepared, and Bobble and Squeak over there, they know what is going on. I have done, let's move you gently back, to reveal a mini pumpkin pie. Look at that. So I have done this so I can have a taste of pumpkin pie glory without having to cut into the entire pie, and also it means I have portion control. So so this is what I'm going to be tasting in a moment. So let's switch shots and we can do the final taste test. Can't wait for this. Oh, it's time. It's time. It's pumpkin pie time. And wasn't that so tremendously easy? Really, that was so easy. This is kind of like my lunch almost because I haven't had lunch yet. So I'm going to dig straight in and have a bite out of this. I'm not going to bother with a knife or a fork or like a spoon because I can just pick this up and give it a try. So I'm going to dig in. By the way, this is best with like some creme fraiche or a bit of like double cream or something like that, a bit of whipped cream. But I'm just going to have it as is because it's really good by itself as well. So. Oh, yeah, that is so good. It's got all those spices in it and they become the predominant flavour of it, hence the pumpkin spice. So you've got the cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg and the mixed spice, which is again predominantly cinnamon, but it's got other things in it like coriander and stuff like that. Is coriander? I think it's coriander. Either way, it's got a really nice blend of spices that work perfectly with this. See, my little pumpkin pie has cooked perfectly. and hopefully the other one will be as well. We'll cut into it tomorrow at work, and I'll pop in a bit of footage at the end so you can see how it came out. But I'm fairly confident that it's come out well. And yeah, this is really just so good. If you've not tried pumpkin pie before, it's that easy. Why not give it a go? It's really, you know, nothing to lose. You know, it might seem like a bit of a strange thing, but the Americans, they know what they're talking about when it comes to this stuff. So yeah, if you've not tried it, really give it a go. There's not much more to say, but I hope you enjoyed this vaguely spooky, vaguely Halloween related episode of Big Friendly Grub. And if you've not tried pumpkin pie before and you give it a go, do let me know. And otherwise, I will see you next time on Big Friendly Grub. There's not much else to say. Enjoy and have a great Halloween. Bye guys.